Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Feels good to be 5-0, OB.
Yeah, it does.
Feels really good to be 5-0.
Feels so good to be feeling good again.
Yeah, let's keep feeling good for the next, 10 weeks.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
I want to be feeling good for, let's see, today is October, what's today? The
October
7th?
the 6th, 2025, by the way.
I want to be feeling good on January 20th.
Is that the national championship date?
It's the day after.
The day after. I like the way you operate. Physicality wins.
Yes, it does, typically.
To me, this game against Mississippi State is a Mike Elko type of win. Okay? And what I mean by that, and I kind of said that last week, but here's a little bit of the difference. When I was on the pregame show, I suggested that it would be kind of close until the fourth quarter, then A&M would pull away. And the reason I thought that was, I thought the offensive line and the running game would just dismantle the Mississippi State, what's the word? Their fight. Okay, they would realize,
break their spirit.
They would take their souls, as the great David Goggins would say. Okay, and I think they did that in a game where, if they have a play or two different in the first half, we're not feeling as bad as we did offensively. Mm-hmm. In the second half, they reversed the script. They only had 3 penalties. We can get into the penalties, but they were just so dominant mentally and physically that in the fourth quarter, where they rushed for 140 yards in the fourth quarter, they asserted their will on both ends of the ball.
They were clearly the better team.
Mm-hmm.
A&M was so far superior to Mississippi State that the only way Mississippi State was competitive was A&M penalties and again, maybe some questionable calls on the goal line. But I think they learned their lessons on the goal line. I think they did, because they finally scored a touchdown on the goal line or inside, there, when Marcel kept it and ran.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching them when they got stuffed early, and I'm like, why are you just running the same? The play might look different, but you're attacking the same point and doing the same thing, and it's not working.
Yep.
What is it going to take for you to say, let's try something else? And they finally tried something else.
But I also think that this team should be able to line up on 4th and 1 and do whatever we want and get that yard.
Should be, but didn't. So again, you know what? Doing other things will do, like
open that up.
It'll open that up.
Yep, 100%. Do we believe in this defense that this is now a legitimate wrecking crew-ish type of defense, or the two opponents that they've done it against? Not yet.
I think they're getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you give up, 19 points in 2 games, in this era of college football offense, you're definitely trending that way. But
is it 1 of 25 on 3rd down and 4th down conversions in the last 2 games?
Is that what it is? I thought it was 1 of 23. Okay, 1 of 25,
including the 4th down.
Okay. Yeah, I'm loving that. Yeah, I mean, they're definitely trending that way. I want to see it against a team that is known for being a good offensive team. That might be Arkansas, by the way.
It might be Arkansas.
That said, though, Mississippi State came into this game. I talked to people in Starkville. They're like, well, how are you going to stop that running attack? Fluff Boffle. Did you see what he did against Tennessee? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Let me tell you and by the way, I hope he gets healthy soon. I saw his injury. I saw when they carted him off the field. It did not look good. 14 carries, 60 yards, 4.3 average.
And one of those carries was what, about 16 yards?
His long was 13.
13, okay.
The long for Booth was 22.
Okay. So
they rushed, but if including the sacks and whatnot, they rushed 31 times for 77 yards.
Yeah, I think is that not the
average 2.5 yards a carry?
Is that not the third time that A&M has held an opponent to fewer than 80 rushing yards?
Yes. Yeah.
Notre Dame got about $129, $130.
Yeah.
And then of course, Robert Henry,
the best running back in the world, outside of our backfield.
He's pretty good.
But and again, what they did was they humbled Mississippi State, and then they couldn't pass on the A&M defense. They did get that one beautiful pass in the fourth quarter, sure. But beyond that, they couldn't do anything offensively other than one long, sustained drive.
Now, part of it, let's be fair, part of it was they have all kinds of offensive line issues. But it's the SEC. When Le'Veon Moss got hurt last year, nobody felt sorry for A&M.
Nobody.
So it's the SEC. If you've got some issues, you know what? Tough break. I don't care. And what you do when your opponent has some issues, some tough breaks, then what you do is you exploit them, dominate them, capitalize on it, and that's what A&M.
By the way, most games in the SEC are going to be close.
Most of them. Yeah, but the frustrating thing about A&M, let's be honest, yes, it's true. Most games are going to be close. But by gosh, make it close because the other team is staying in the game and not because you're allowing them to.
Yeah.
By the way, A&M gives up so much yardage on returns because of holding, and I get it. There are defensive backs out there. They're not asked to block. The first year I played organized football, I was in the third grade for the Red Hornets in Mesquite, Texas, and our coach told us to block. He says, just grab a hold of your own jersey to block. Maybe they need to try that on the punt returns because a lot of those returns are going to be long returns anyway.
Yeah.
If you just get out of the way. So, what my point is, I went on a rant. A&M so far has kept its opponents with its own penalties and mistakes, has kept its opponents in the game. We could have seen 2 games now where A&M could have won by 28 points.
Well,
points.
That first drive of the game, 3 penalties in the first 2 minutes, and it negated a big Le'Veon run and some other big plays.
Mm-hmm.
Had they, I don't know if I can guarantee points on that drive, but I was feeling pretty good about that. You need to get off to a good start, and I think this is going to be, outside of Notre Dame, the biggest challenge A&M has had yet is Florida this weekend.
Okay.
I think Florida's better than Auburn. I think Florida's better than Mississippi State. I know the record may not reflect that. I think they're better.
They might be. But I think Florida and Auburn are almost the same guy. Maybe Auburn is Florida's mini-me. But
they would take Lagway before Jackson Arnold, though, right?
Yeah. But what has Lagway really done until last week? Lagway is a quarterback that can throw but he really scares you as a runner. And Arnold's that. So, yeah, I would take Lagway over. Both teams, really good receivers. I think Auburn actually has better receivers.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Explosive running backs. I think Florida will actually use theirs.
Yeah.
As opposed to what?
Jaden Ball's good.
Yeah, they both have coaches that you wonder about what he's thinking on his offense. They both have offensive lines that are supposed to be good. Auburn's has been a disappointment. We'll see about Florida.
If you're a Florida fan, do you want it to win this game?
Both teams are supposed to be good defensively, by the way.
Yeah, and they both are good defensively. But do you want, that diehard fan that wants to see a change, do you want to see, if you're a Florida fan, do you want to win this game?
Yes, you always want to win.
No.
Even, look, so many years ago, when it was very obvious that the coach before Jimbo Fisher was incompetent, and it became very obvious on a night in Pasadena, California. Even when I knew the best thing for A&M was to get a new coach, and that with every win it was less likely, even then, you can't go in and say, no, I want to lose.
Yeah, no, you never want to lose. But I understand sometimes you're like, it'd be better for us if we really want Lane Kiffin, we got to start losing. But they're not at that point in the season yet. Because, they've lost one SEC game?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, because they lost to South Florida, they
LSU.
lost to LSU, and they lost to Miami. So technically, they're still in the mix for the SEC.
Yes, they are, technically.
Yeah.
Technically, so is Texas.
Everybody is.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Texas? I don't think they're as bad as people think.
Yeah, I think they're pretty bad, actually. I was keeping an open mind, but after that game, they scored late to make it look better than it was.
Yeah. Do you think they're an 8-4 team?
I think they might be worse than that. Texas, all the questions that we had about A&M going into the season have been answered positively. The questions about Texas coming in
have not.
I think they've all been answered negative. Hey, what are they going to do about losing 4 offensive linemen, including a first-round draft choice?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're not going to be very good. That's what they're going to say. Well, they were really good in the interior defensive line last year with Sweat and Broughton and Alfred Collins.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all 3 might be on NFL rosters right now. How are you going to be as good against the inside run? Well, you're not. Well, you did lose a first-round draft choice at receiver and a tight end. That was a huge part of the offense. Are you going to still be as good? No. Well, that Ewers guy, why did he start if the next guy was so much better? So I think that game, you just looked at it and you think, if I'm Texas, the one thing I want to see more than anything this week is I want to see John Mateer on the sideline.
Yeah, I do too. Do you think if John Mateer plays, I think Oklahoma's, even if he's limited, I think they
win. Might win even if he doesn't play. That's what I think about Texas now. I'm not saying that they can't jump up and win. Look, it's an SEC team. No games are easy. But Texas has not beaten a Power 4 team yet, and they struggled to UTEP.
Yeah.
I mean, we're mid-season now. It's mid-season form.
And I think, if I remember correctly, the San Jose State game, they struggled for a little bit in that game too, but it's a 4-quarter game. There you go. They won 38-7. It doesn't look like they struggled that much. Anyway, let's hear from Coach Elko, shall we? He talked about getting Marcel right after a slow-ish start.
We had to find ways to get Marcel settled down. I think we all knew that. He saw some things not clean enough, missed a couple throws. We had the turnover as we were getting in the red zone to score points. We had the 4th down stop again as we were going in to score points. And so, it wasn't all negative in the first half, but we had to find ways to get into a rhythm. And so it really was more just about you're in an SEC football game. SEC football games are not easy. They're going to be 4-quarter football games. And so get this out of your mind that this thing is going to go clean and smooth and just go out there and compete and grind. And we did that in the second half, and we were able to have some success.
It'll be one of the things I told Billy yesterday on the Luchador is that this team so far is a product of 4 quarters. And, a lot of teams are, but hear me out for a moment.
Listen.
If we would have looked at just the first half, you're like, gosh, my goodness, Marcel looks horrible. Like, what are we going to do? But if you look at the 4 quarters, the numbers start looking good. You look at the final score. You look at what the defense did. It is not about a drive. It's not about a quarter. Now, you don't want to put yourself in a hole. Don't get me wrong. But I think when we evaluate this team, let's evaluate the chess pieces that Mike Elko's playing throughout the game.
Oh, look. A&M and Mike Elko and all that team, they should be celebrated for what they did. They've won 2 SEC games. That's not easy to do. Like Mike said in that soundbite, games are going to be close. Where I get frustrated is, once again, I've always said, I look through the lens of can that win you a conference championship? And I've even changed it. Now I'm looking through the lens, can that win you a national championship? Because that is a realistic ambition.
Yeah.
Everybody says they want to win the national title, but sometimes you're thinking, yeah, right, well, I want to win the lottery too. It's not out of the realm of possibility. So I'm looking at it, and you're saying, all right, if I'm playing for a national championship, if I got Ohio State up there,
yep,
and keep getting penalties that sometimes aren't even necessary, that keeps negating big plays, or if I have a receiver open like Theo was, now Theo could have caught it, and you throw a pass and you're lucky it didn't get it, and it deflects, you're lucky it didn't get intercepted, or my quarterback's just not playing well for a half, is that going to win you a national championship?
Oh, OB, this is the best I have felt about A&M football since I've been here. Okay, and you could say, well, of course, you're 5-0. Last year at 6-1 on this show, we oftentimes brought up some of the real issues when they were 6-1. This is before the injury to Le'Veon. Man, if they don't figure out their tackling, it's going to be a problem. Like, there were many things that we'd bring up, like, I love how we're winning these games. I really believe in them. But if they don't get this, there's still some buts out here. Don't get me wrong. But I feel much better about the journey.
I do too, David. And that's why I get so frustrated and tense about the unnecessary mistakes. Are there going to be penalties? Sure. Is the quarterback always going to make everything? No. He threw an interception when they were driving. It was take the check down.
Yeah.
Right? Because, and the reason how come these things get magnified, even in wins, is because of what is legitimately out there for you to get. There's an SEC championship out there.
Yeah.
There's a playoff berth out there. There's a national championship that is out there. You're as good as anybody. This Texas A&M team, talent-wise, and what you can do is as good as anybody in the country if you don't self-sabotage.
I know people like to take a quote from the 1st of October, and then if things go south, see, bookmarks, look what I got on you. But outside of Miami, outside of Ohio State, and by the way, I don't know what I would pick if A&M faced Miami. I don't know. Like, A&M played Notre Dame
on the road
in
the second game
of the year, right? So, and I know that Miami did beat Notre Dame at home. I recognize that, and it was a little bit, but it was still a game. I don't know who I look at in football and be like, that team is better than Texas A&M.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know if A&M's the best team in the country, but I don't know who's better than them.
Right, and that's why I'm saying, and I know Coach Elko's working on it. He's trying to clean up, and they were good on penalties in the second half, but I'm talking about the whole picture. A&M has not played its best game yet, I hope. I think there's so much out there, so many ways they can improve on, their passing game, on mainly penalties, right? Yeah. That he keeps talking about, if you play a complete game, and we're waiting on that complete game, and I hope the complete game comes Saturday, and they're all complete games after that. That's why it's frustrating, because, like you said, you feel better about this team than you can. I don't think I felt as good about an A&M team
in 2020. Did you feel this?
I think I felt better about this team than I did 2020.
Yeah,
I think I felt about the way I did in 2012.
Okay, that anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Yeah,
legitimately.
And look, I don't want to always say like there's a long way to go. There is a long way to go. You got to get lucky. You got to navigate injuries. Your quarterback's got to get better. You've got to get off to some better starts. I recognize all that, because look how close some of these games have been.
Depth.
They do have the depth, especially at linebacker. Which was a question, by the way. Let's do this. Let's tell the people the name of the show. Do you know what it is?
Well,
the whole show.
Yeah, TexAgs Live.
Presented by
David Gardner Jewelers.
By the way,
who hopefully will be making up a bunch of national championship rings.
Well, I'll tell you about some other rings. They got a huge David Gardner Jewelers engagement ring event October 15th through the 18th. From kickoff to the goal line, will help you score. Book now at davidgardnersjewelers.com and take advantage of exclusive offers, flexible financing, and expert design. Walk-ins are always welcomed. Good announcer man voice?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and this is the Go Hour presented by
The Warehouse at CNC Creations.
That is correct. And if, typically we hang out right
at
over
the
there.
Holistic Planning Cool Zone, but it travels.
It does.
Holistic Planning.
But it's still there. We don't move
there.
it. But yeah, it does. The essence of it travels.
Yes.
And so check out our friends at holisticplanning.com. Let's quickly go around the room to say hi to the people. Behind the glass is the man we call Nick Savage because that's his name. Nick, good morning, sir.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
How are you?
I'm great. You know what else is great? The Aggies' defense on third down. They are downright elite when it comes to getting off the field on third down. I believe Luke's note, they are 1 for 24 or something like, holding opponents to 1 for 24 on third down conversions. They're 5th nationally in opponent third down conversion percentage, holding opponents to 22% success rate on that. So that's second in the SEC. Oklahoma is the only one better. So hopefully they can keep that up, and they'll be in a good spot, especially the way the defense has been playing lately.
Yeah, A&M would be a whole lot better if they played Oklahoma's schedule.
Yeah.
When Michigan's the best team you've played.
Well, as I was going to say, you can compare some resume. Look, A&M's got to take on some better teams moving ahead. There's a lot of TBDs, which is weird to say, but I still think it's a TBD on Texas, but they're obviously not the team we thought they were. LSU, I think you and Billy were one of the few that were weren't sold on them. I thought they were good, and I think because I bought
always
stock.
Dangerous.
I bought stock in Clemson more than the reality was. Although ask North Carolina how they feel about Clemson, but there's still some real explosives out there on your schedule. Mm-hmm. But win the games you're supposed to. This team's in the playoffs the rest of the way.
Yeah, I think A&M is going to be favored. I believe A&M will be favored in every game remaining that they have.
Even the LSU game?
I believe they will. Even on the road. They haven't won there since 94. I was there when it happened. But what if LSU loses a game before then? What do they have? I think they have South Carolina and Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
They could go 1-1 there.
I think South Carolina comes to them. I'm not sure about the.
I think they go to Nashville. In fact, my sons talked about going. So
Yeah.
Anyway, what if they've lost another game by then? And A&M is 6-0, and LSU's 4-2, and just got beat by 10 points by Vanderbilt.
Hey, in the next segment, we're going to check in with Ella Ryan at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center because we were way late for a break.
I'm sorry, I got.
It was good.
Crazy.
It was a good segment. But can I tell you a story about 1775?
Tell me.
This is true story. I'm a true storyteller unless I lie. And right now I'm not lying. Sometimes I lie.
He even tells the truth, even when he lies. It's a Cuban thing.
It's a Cuban thing. So to Saturday, my wife and youngest daughter, Isla, came to the game. Uh-huh. They were hungry, 1775s in our parking lot.
Yeah.
And I got them brisket sandwich.
Okay.
And I got them also. Isla got the sausage, and Elizabeth got the brisket sandwich.
Yeah.
And the queso mac and cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Here's the beauty of it.
All right.
I bought it for them, not for me.
Right.
I've had it. You guys have it. I'm fine. Elizabeth could not finish her sandwich. So you saw me. I had a half brisket sandwich.
You did.
And there was so much meat on that sandwich that even I, David Nuño, got a little bit full at dinner with what I ate and the queso mac and cheese.
I'm not surprised. I've always said you're full of it.
You want to go outside and talk about that?
Sure.
Because there's hopefully a 1775.
1775 kiosk.
Go check it out. 1775txbbq.com is the website. 979-492-6241. It is 1775.
It's good.
Mm. Hey everyone, it's David and Olin from the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
I like when we have the chairs here because I don't feel like I have to do this when we're talking about holistic planning. But they want you to know, TexAgs subscribers, they take care of the TexAgs subscribers.
Oh, absolutely. Take care of everybody.
They want to know that anybody who signs up by November 27, 2025 will receive this awesome offer. If the Aggies beat the Longhorns or win in Austin on November 28, 2025, clients will pay no management fees to Holistic Planning for the entire 2026 calendar year.
That's free.
It's free 99. Actually, just free.
All you got to do is beat Texas. Well, it's not if they beat Texas. It's when they beat Texas.
When. And when you go to holisticplanning.com, you're going to love Holistic Planning. So it is holisticplanning.com. Check out the website and take advantage of this awesome offer. We're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, we're going to check in with Ella here in a second. But I had the great fortune of hanging out with some good TexAgers throughout the weekend. I was on the field during our tailgate show or pregame show, and a couple of young men who listen to us all the time from South Carolina. They made their first trip ever to Kyle Field. Came and said hello. Apparently on Friday, Brody allowed them to come check out the studio. They came and said hello. Dad was an Aggie, or is an Aggie, I should say, listens to the show all the time. I don't remember their names. They were awesome, great guys, so shout out to them.
Come back.
Talked to a bunch of folks at our tailgate, our own tailgate. A lot of folks gave me condolences, which was sweet because everybody was great, but got to talk to Matt Tackle. I got to talk to a bunch of people. It was great, so appreciate our TexAgers as always.
Aggies being Aggies.
Aggies being Aggies. That's absolutely right. All right, let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Does that sound like a 1950s reporter?
No.
Okay, never mind. Ella Ryan's here. Hello. Cheerio.
Cheerio. How you doing?
That was good.
That was good?
Yeah, I like that. What's going on in your world? You got some text messages for us, some news for us. What do you have?
Yeah, I got both. I can start with some news about, talking about some teams that have gone from number 1 to off the AP polls. Reminds me a little bit of Aggie baseball, who had their first fall exhibition. Oh my gosh. Game last Friday. It was a 12-inning game, but they had a dominant 22-7 victory over Sam Houston. And they'll return to action this Friday where they'll host TCU. So, Aggie baseball just...
Aggie sports are fun right now.
Got a strong start.
Yeah, I mean, they're always fun, but
they're fun right now.
Right now, it's our own version of Mardi Gras.
She'll tell us, but soccer had a good week too. They beat Texas.
Beat Texas. Yeah.
I think they drew a
draw
against LSU, right?
No, against OU.
OU, sorry. So good week for them. Volleyball,
yeah, they picked up their 7th straight win of the season in Tuscaloosa and their 7th sweep of the season as well. They remain undefeated in SEC play, being 4-0, and they'll host Kentucky this Wednesday.
Okay. Anything else for us?
I had a good text that I liked. It was from Chase in Houston, and he said, the Aggies are winning in the most perfect way you can right now, just figuring out what is working best and getting the job done when the clock hits 0. Sure, they have things to clean up, but I've said it for a while now. Winning the game is all that matters at the end of the day.
And they win it in multiple ways, and each week that I say that, it becomes more apparent the different ways that they can win, OB.
Yeah, because look, they've already shown that they can win the defensive game. They can outscore you, and quite frankly, if they need to, they can take over a second half. But what about when you have that explosive offensive game, and that defense shows up and plays like they have, and then you're in the fourth quarter and your starters have their shoulder pads off because it's already in the bank.
What this weekend to me felt like, and excuse the comparison because where my brain goes, is a jiu-jitsu match where just by the third round you have nothing, right? All the chess pieces you've tried to do, you try to speed up the game, you try to do this or that. It's just so much power at the end of the game that you've worn down your opponent and you submit them. And that's what A&M did. They submitted Mississippi State in the fourth quarter.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
you didn't follow.
Well, no, I get it. Yeah, they I don't know. They forced them into submission, right? They made them tap out, so to speak.
They tapped them out, baby.
Even so, they did get a late touchdown. And yeah, like Chase said, the only thing that matters is winning, and that's true. And I was celebrated to win. Like I say, if I get ornery right now when we talk about the game, it's just like I've been stressing. This team is so good that it's starting to feel like, and I don't want to. I'm going to say it. I don't necessarily feel like 100% this way yet, but especially the rest of the way, the only team that's going to beat you is you.
So far. By the way, I do want to give a shout out to Coach Henry, Pat Henry. The Aggie cross-country team secured a pair of top 4 finishes as well at the Paul Short Run. The men placed 3rd and the women claimed 4th on Friday. So, again, great sports all around.
You know what? I've always said A&M should be good in everything with all the advantages and being in Texas and all the good athletes to recruit from and the ability to go recruit anywhere else. You should be good in everything, and we're good in everything.
Trivia question for you.
All right.
All right, this is going to be hard because you can't see the back of my shirt.
Okay.
All right, look at this hoodie.
Yeah.
Guess where it's from.
A duck camp?
It is a duck camp.
Yeah.
It is
from the duck camp.
It's from the camp of ducks. A bunch of ducks just hanging around making clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's I don't know.
It's a good looking shirt.
It's a great shirt.
Yeah.
Even Elizabeth said this morning, she goes, I like that hoodie on you. I know, girl.
I have one like that, except it's kind of greenish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the green. I got a few.
I'm sure you do.
I love the duck camp.
I do too. And so does people that see you in it.
Yeah, I get a lot of compliments. So this is a hoodie, breathable, quick drying, made to battle that 100-degree kickoff heat. They've got also the essential hoodie. They've got the lightweight fishing shirt. You look like a fishing shirt kind of guy.
I'm wearing one.
There you go. And the scout shorts. Check it out at duckcamp.com. Built for the outdoors and designed for everything else.
Everyone, David Nuño here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever. And also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group. And they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no-pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em.
My buddy Philip sends in, so are we talking Arch Manning to the transfer portal to Tennessee or Ole Miss? He doesn't strike me as that kind of guy.
They don't strike me that way either.
No. I don't think he's as bad as everybody says he is. Now, I watched, I'd say half of that Florida game, and especially in the beginning, he struggled quite a bit, and his numbers against both Ohio State and Florida get better at the end of the game when they're in desperation mode. But I don't think he's as bad as everybody says, but he's obviously not as good as everybody thought as the national media was pushing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's probably not, but because of the way Feinbaum and other national outlets hyped him up to so ridiculous amount that every failure he has gets magnified.
Yeah. But they're still in the mix, even though this weekend could be a major knockout to their playoff plans.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they lose to Oklahoma, I don't think a 9-3 Texas team is going to get into the playoff.
Could a 9-3 A&M team get in with what's left on their schedule?
I'm not going to count on anybody at 9-3. It's possible if it happens, if A&M gets in at 9-3, it's because Notre Dame is 10-2 and has worked their way into the top 10.
Do you see a few 10-2 teams?
Yeah.
3 10-2 teams in the SEC potentially?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. A&M potentially, Ole Miss potentially, Alabama potentially.
But I'm counting on 12-0. I mean, this is the home of the 12th man.
This is true. Let's go back to the Angry
12 is
Elephant.
kind of a big number around here.
It is. It is. It's my favorite number around here. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. More commentary from the humans.
Yes, got some commentary. Someone said, we genuinely think if we design more runs for Marcel, opposing defenses will be worried about that, which will enable his passing game to take off. I feel like he's trying too hard to be a pocket passer.
I don't know the why behind it. I think something that OB said earlier, I think they don't want to get him hurt, right?
Maybe.
I mean, again, we've seen it many, many times. I think those plays are there. Yes. The guys are open, right? He's either holding on to it a little bit too long or he's not putting enough loft in the pass. But, I mean, there's been a couple KC Mario plays that, and by the way, Billy brought this up yesterday, the Ashton Bethel-Roman pass interference. That was a well-thrown ball.
I think that, look, I'm not asking them to make Marcel be carrying the ball all the time, but I think it is there's a weapon there when he has the ball in his hands. And you saw the way he faked out this one guy from Mississippi State late in the game. He just made the guy look ridiculous, faked him out of his shoes. And they ended up scoring on that. I think that's just a weapon that should be used a little more. And I believe when you remind everybody, not that probably don't have to be reminded, but I'm talking about your opponents, the threat that Marcel can be as a runner, it just opens up more opportunities in the passing game because somebody has the spine.
Yep. I haven't seen it directly, but people have talked to me about something SEC Mike put out there.
He put a 7th.
A&M 7th in
his SEC power rankings.
Oh, Mike. Being Mike.
If you need
click.
If you need
clicks.
Hold on.
Click. Hold on. Click. One more. Click.
If you need clicks, put it out there on A&M because the Aggies take the bait.
Everybody takes the bait, right? Like
not as much as
who does he have in front of? Oh, this is so predictable.
He probably has Alabama 1. He probably has Georgia 2. No, Ole Miss 2.
Yeah.
Georgia 3. Tennessee probably in there. I don't even know.
Missouri, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt are all before us.
Missouri might be great, but are you counting? Are you really buying Missouri on the strength of a what? Let me look this up right here because I keep stuff on everybody. Are you buying Missouri on the strength of a 42-31 victory over Kansas? Because I think, or 29-20 over South Carolina.
I don't know.
Because they've beaten Central Arkansas, BFD, which stands for Big Fat Deal. Kansas, they've beaten Louisiana Lafayette, who is awful. This isn't Billy Napier's Cajuns. South Carolina, which we all know is not near the South Carolina they were last year, and UMass. Yeah, when I think great football, I think of a team that can handle Massachusetts.
Look, everybody's got their formula and what works for their business model and what works for their opinions. And maybe in at the end of 12 weeks of a football season, I look at A&M like, you know what, they probably were in the middle of the road. Or I look at them like they were the best team in all of college football. All I know is through 5 games, A&M sits atop of the SEC with Ole Miss. Ole Miss has got one more SEC game. I know that A&M is undefeated with a road win against the team that will probably be in the playoffs, or could be in the playoffs if they do what they're supposed to do the rest of the way, right? So whatever. People have their opinions. I know there's some that are very high on A&M. I heard Coach Saban on game day. He was very high on Coach Oko and A&M. So
no offense to SEC Mike, but I would be more influenced by the opinion of SEC Nick than SEC Mike. By the way, I've just figured out last night, if you look at just the undefeated teams that are in Power 4 conferences, I think you would say that A&M has played the 4th most challenging schedule. Miami number 1, and then
all in the state of Florida, though.
Well, okay, but they still. They've beaten 3 teams that are currently ranked.
Yeah, I'm not taking it away.
And then I'd say Indiana, surprisingly enough. Anyway, based on maybe not, but based on the records of their opponents, and then it would be the third one would be Ohio State.
By the way, all of this does not matter today if A&M loses to Florida on Saturday.
Right.
This is about choose your own adventure, and the adventure I'm choosing is that they clean up their penalties and they just keep choking fools out.
My opinion is that A&M, if A&M loses a game, it'll be because they'll have a high number of turnovers or penalties or both. But I don't think any team on their schedule or anywhere in the country is just going to line up and be able to say, we're going to beat you just because our personnel is so much better than yours.
CV Callahan 37. Nuño, getting anyone to mention the Ags in the media is like pulling teeth. We're still not getting any prime coverage on SEC or ESPN. I think part of that, by the way, I don't need a lot of love. Okay, I'm not asking for A&M to be number 1 or this or that. We're just having talking points here. But the way you change that narrative is to not falter down the stretch.
Well, I think that people get hung up on style points. That's why A&M didn't get into the playoff in 2020. Besides the fact that Notre Dame and Ohio State had bigger brands, but style points. I think it was Heather Dennis says, I don't like the way A&M plays.
Yeah.
I don't like the way they win. Like, well, because they're close in the fourth quarter and they always win in the fourth quarter. I'm like, isn't just winning the point. So people get hung up on style points. And that's kind of where I'm at. A&M would have not just 5-0, they would have all the style points because they're one of the most explosive teams in the country if they just didn't self-sabotage.
Daniel Barrett, this is funny. SEC Mike loves his hot takes. David and everyone needs to chill out, quit with the beta male freakouts. Give calm, factual, deliberate, rhetorical responses and let him say his crap.
Well, we do. I mean, you have him on quite often, right?
I think was I being rude to him?
To
SEC Mike? I don't think I was rude. Was I being a beta male? I mean, I'm an Aggie cowboy. I was a beta at Texas A&M, beta theta pi, but
you're a frat guy, huh?
I was.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Big deal, really big deal. Yeah, in the frat community.
They don't have a big frat.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know anymore. It was like 30 years ago, but yeah, it was big. Look,
I didn't know they had such a Greek presence.
Oh
here
my
at
gosh,
A&M.
we're eating gyros, whatever they're called, all over the place. Yeah, it's very Greek.
Okay.
Right? My big fat Greek wedding. That's what it's like. By the way, Daniel, I don't think I think we were pretty. I think we explained our point. Like
I think SEC Mike is out of his mind if he thinks that A&M is only the 7th best team in the SEC.
I love Mike. Very nice guy. I believe he believes what he says for that week.
Okay.
That week, I think he believes it.
And I'm believing if he has them 7, it's probably because he thinks that you're only beat Auburn by this. I'm like, yeah, but and I'll give him credit for this. He doesn't have Oklahoma up there either. because heard so many people when Oklahoma beat Auburn. Oh, now that just solidifies it for. But he probably is say, great teams aren't 123rd in the nation in penalties.
And for that,
and if he said that, if he said, look, I am 7th because I think a great team doesn't commit this many penalties, I would go.
I can't argue that.
Can't argue that one.
Yeah. The reason I believe they're better than the 7th is because of their record, who they've beat, and the way they've done it. That's my why. They beat you multiple ways. They've gone on the road and done it against, at the time, a top 10 team, and against a team that their 2 losses are combined,
that team might
6
be in
points?
the top 10 before we get into November.
Yeah. So, but we got to see. Right now, if your organization or business is looking for an opportunity to engage with Aggies, then check out the Association of Former Students. They bring Aggies of all ages together during marquee events held throughout the year. We're talking about all Aggie Hullabaloo, The Gathering, and Aggie Ring Day. They welcome tens of thousands of guests, and there are many sponsorship and vendor opportunities to get your brand in front of those attendees. They offer a wide variety of both digital and in-person options to promote your brand. This includes title sponsorship naming, on-site presence, activation, and social media posts, and much, much more. There's also advertising opportunities in both the Texas Aggie Magazine and the Aggie News newsletter, which are seen by over 230,000 people. So if your business is ready to engage with Aggies, choose a partner with the organization that's been supporting the Aggie Network for the last 140 years. For more information on options available through the association, please email sponsorships@aggienetwork.com.
Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks is good to be right.
Hey, it's TexAgs Live. OB and I just having a conversation. Let's do a couple things, shall we?
Let's do.
Let's first tell people about caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been around Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. As a reminder, they are not open on Mondays. Makes you want it more. You know who's on the show today?
Who?
Marty Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Big Marty guy.
Like every Monday, right?
Yep. Billy Liucci.
Okay, every Monday.
And Chris Doering.
Oh, Chris Doering, man. You guys going to talk about flexing together?
We might. I think he'd beat me in a flex off.
Hans and Franz.
He would probably beat me in a flex off. But it's all right. He was an NFL athlete,
He's
played at a
jacked.
very high level. I played 7th grade ball. So, it is what it is. Let's try to get a text before we hit a break at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Ella Ryan.
Someone sent in, I think Colin Klein is slowly unwrapping this offense and all of its capabilities as we progress in SEC play. He doesn't want to tip his hand, show his cards, and most importantly, he wants to keep everyone healthy as possible, especially Reed. I don't think it'll be this game, but in the next couple road games, I think we start to see more of a balanced offense.
Okay.
Been pretty darn balanced recently.
What was the game? 207 yards rushing and passing?
Yeah.
Each?
Yeah.
The other day?
I think
Last
this is
week?
as balanced as you get. All right, Obi, thank you.
Yep.
We'll be back. Marty Smith. And we're back, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. We're going to go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline here in a moment to talk to Marty Smith, but that is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Huddle up, tailgate season is here, and there's no better place to gear up than Academy Sports and Outdoors. If you want a grill that says my barbecue is just as good as my smack talk, they've got you a cooler that screams I can hold 47 cans and keep my cool. Even in overtime, they've got that as well, and fan gear that says I score more style points than a football spinning, back flipping, funky chicken touchdown dance. Academy's got that at undefeatable prices because here the fun can't lose. With that, we go to Marty Smith. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Hey, brother. Good morning. I'm great. How you guys doing today?
Doing wonderful. Thanks.
I imagine you're in a great mood down there.
I am. You know, Marty, OB and I were talking, Olin and I were talking a moment ago. Look, I know there's a long way to go. Long way. And there are some, games that are going to creep up on A&M. But so far, what they've shown me is that they can win in multiple different ways. And if they can figure out the penalty situation, why not Texas A&M this year, Marty?
Oh no, I agree with you. They're really good, man. They're really good, and I feel like a broken record on your show because I feel like I've said this several times, and I feel like they're so complete. And you're right, there's some discipline breakdowns. But they're correctable. And defensively, what Coach Elko and Coach Bateman are doing to confuse opposing offenses and the way that Sanford and York just fly to the football, they are great players. I was midweek. I turned on the Auburn game, and I was just watching tape on the Auburn game, and I'm like, damn, man, who's 21? Because this dude is everywhere. He was so disruptive in that game. It was almost like he had their playbook because he was exactly where Jackson Arnold was at all times. And obviously that's a brilliant job schematically. And then on the other side of the ball, Concepcion is just fireworks. You just, that wick is lit. And it's just a matter of when it's going to pop off. And that's on the perimeter. That's in special teams. He's just such a dynamic player. And that crowd, I mean, I was, of course, watching on TV. I wasn't there. I was at a different game, which was also fantastic. But that crowd, man, they lived up to their mantra. It seemed electric in there, man. And to be undefeated at this point, having beaten multiple quality opponents, I don't know how you could be happier if you were a Texas A&M fan.
Marty, the way they're attacking teams, does it seem to you that this is a sustainable model? And before you answer that, I'm going to go back to last season when they were 7-1. I loved it. It was great. But I still saw a lot of these glaring holes. They're like, they got to figure out their tackling. They've got to figure this out. They got to figure that out. So far, 5 games
they're tackling the hell out of the football this year, son.
Right? So to take it from there.
Yeah, to me, and this is super nitpicky. I mean, this is like getting way in the nitpicky weeds here. The only thing I've seen on tape, I watched a lot of the Mississippi State game this morning in preparation for you, and you could see early on in the game, very early on, there was still some tentativeness by Marcel Reed to just trust what he's seeing and rip. And then, you see him throw that pass to KC, a 40-yard dart, all the way across the football field, down in the corner for a touchdown. You see Concepcion's effort to get in the end zone. Everything you want to see is there. And Reed is so dynamic with the football in his hands. And as that game progressed, you could see his confidence just go up and up and up and up with what he was seeing. Even when he broke the pocket, I think it was in the third quarter possibly, he broke the pocket. He stepped up and ran out to his right and just threw a sidearm dart. I think it was to 87, but I can't. It might have been to KC. But that is just such a confidence play in what you're seeing. and that is growth as a quarterback. We all know that he can run it really well. We know he has a good arm. So as that progresses, I mean, there's just nothing but positive to look at in terms of his growth and maturation. Stretching the field, that's what everybody wanted to see entering the season. And so if he can get to that place where there's not, I heard Jordan Rodgers talking about this on the broadcast early on too. There's just this very brief hitch, but that hitch could be a difference in an explosive play or not. And as he continues to grow and develop, how many starts does this dude have, David? 10, 12?
A little bit more than that, yeah.
So as he grows and becomes more comfortable with that, I mean, look out, man, because he's a special one.
Marty, when you look at this Florida team, we've known that they've always had the talent, right? It seemed like they figured it out against Texas. What have you seen from Florida? Because this is a game before, like weeks ago, I looked at it in the preseason, like, man, of those home games, that's the one that really worries me. What have you seen from Florida?
They proved that it's in there. They proved that when everyone is healthy, when everyone is on the football field in a contribution mode, I mean, David, DJ Lagway hadn't practiced. He got a week off in a bye week to heal up a little bit, to see some live practice and some full speed bodies. And then you get the offensive line a little bit healed up from the nicks that they have. And all of a sudden they're moving the line of scrimmage. And all of a sudden Jaden Ball is getting 6, 7, 8 yards a pop every single time they hand it to him. And then what happens? Complementary football. All of a sudden, you got the linebacker, you got the front seven playing the RPO threat, and that opens up lanes for guys like who? Dallas Wilson, who most of America never even heard of until Saturday. He was the player of the week in the country, in my opinion. So explosive with the football. So dynamic off the line of scrimmage in creating space and creating a cushion for DJ Lagway to throw it to him. And then once he had it in his hands, all the yak, tack, touchdowns after contact. And so what happens then? The swamp's rocking. And what happens then? The defense schematically was very well devised. Now, on the Texas side of things, everybody's asking me, I was at the grocery store yesterday. People are like, hey, man, Arch Manning's not as good as y'all said he was going to be. Sure, he'll be fine. I'm not worried about Arch Manning. I'm not. Now, he definitely missed some throws. He definitely wasn't seeing what was in front of him as Sark hopes he would. But I just think he'll develop into that. I do. To me, in this one, the credit goes to Billy Napier in Florida. They played their asses off. And another thing about Billy, it's funny, McGee and I and SEC Nation, we were down in Gainesville, and I introduced that Billy was coming up on the show because Ryan and I interviewed him on Marty and McGee during our show on Saturday morning. And I said his name, and all the people behind me were booing. And I'm like, stop it. Just stop it. I think he's a great man and a fantastic football coach. And that blew up Twitter, as you would imagine, because there's a lot of frustrated Gators, and it's okay to be frustrated. Winning is the job, and he's now 21 and 22. But one thing that you can't tell me is not unequivocal truth, David. You saw it on Saturday. Those young men are playing their butts off for him. And I just thought it was a fantastic performance. And man, I got to be honest, I was a little surprised how dominant they were running the football against what is a fantastic Texas defense, especially that front seven. And Florida really had their way, man.
Marty, how concerned do you think Texas should be? I know you feel fine about Arch, but the fact that they weren't able to run the ball, and they've got OU coming up, who knows about John Mateer's status, but is their defense good enough to beat Texas without Mateer?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that defense from what I've seen, and I've watched multiple games in full. I watched the entire Michigan game. I watched the entire Auburn game. They fly to the football, and they got bad intentions when they get there. It's prototypical Brent Venables, and he has the dudes and the health now to be able to implement what he wants to do. There's so many schematic options for him. There's simulated pressure. There's all-out blitzes. There's zone. There's man. They can really do what they want to do and stay so aggressive in doing it. But the thing that impresses me the most, and this also applies to Bateman and Elko, when the football is in somebody's hand, once the ball is passed or run, 11 hats are running to that damn thing. And that's coaching. That is all coaching. And I admire it so much because I'm an old man and I'm Uncle Rico. And this week I'm getting ready to go up to Lycoming College to interview a 58-year-old college football player, which I admire. But I had a coach from the time I was in 8th grade, and that's all they ever said, run to the football, fly to the football. And so that's ingrained in me as a person. And so to see it that way with elite athletes, which Oklahoma has and Texas A&M has, it's really fun to watch, man. Like, it's fun to watch.
I want to use a team that I think could be similar to Florida, but they're at a crossroads, right? Auburn. They've got talent. They've got issues at quarterback, but if Jackson Arnold, when he's right, he's right. But they've got Georgia coming up. They had the bye week. Is this the point of the season we find out what the future is for this program? I think we lost you, Marty.
My bad.
All good, all good.
As if I didn't use this during COVID every day. I had to cough, so I muted myself. Sorry about that.
All good.
I sort of see Auburn a little differently. And again, back to what I said about Billy, winning is the job. So there is frustration, I'm sure, on the plains, but nobody is more frustrated than Hugh Freeze, genuinely, because if you look at the games they've lost, they're in them all the way to the end of these games. So I think there's tremendous reason for optimism. I think they have one of the best players in the country in Coleman. I think that Arnold is starting to kind of get into what Hugh wants him to do. The problem is, I mean, again, going back to A&M, Torian York was in his jock, man, the whole game. And I don't care who you are. If you got a guy that athletic and that fast and that violent running after you, it's going to be kind of hard to really keep your eyes down the football field. Self-preservation enters the equation at some point. But I do believe there's reason for optimism. And Georgia, though, look, like after losing to Bama the way they did, they're hell-bent for leather now, buddy. I mean, that's all Kirby needs. Kirby's always looking for reasons to be pissed off. He's always looking for reasons to have an extra edge and be able to impart that edge to his players. And now he has it. He has it without hesitation. Oh, everybody's giving up on you guys. Now everybody thinks you guys suck. That's all he needs. And so, I mean, look, Georgia, to me, I think there's still so many questions in the Southeastern Conference. Do we really know who's great? Do we?
No.
I don't know if we do, man. I think I know who some really good teams are. I think Alabama's really, really good. I think Texas A&M's really, really good. Oklahoma's good with John Mateer. They've beaten some really good really good teams. What are they really with Hawkins? We don't know. Kent State is now 0-17 all time against the AP top 10. That ain't too good, bro. So I don't know. I don't know. Is Missouri? I mean, I'm impressed with Missouri. I'm impressed with Hardy. I'm impressed with Prebula. But who they really beaten? So we're going to learn a lot about them on Saturday in Columbia. That's where SEC Nation Marty and McGee will be. We'll be in Columbia for the Bama-Missouri game. So I don't know. I can't tell you who's great. Who do you think is great nationally? Ohio State and Oregon?
Miami, maybe?
Miami's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with them the other night. I'll give you that. Really happy for Carson Beck, man. Like, before last season, I sat down with him in Athens before the season ever started. And if you recall, he was the projected number 1 pick. I think he was the Heisman front runner from a betting odds perspective, on and on and on, et cetera, et cetera. And then he had the season he had. Constant criticism, the injury in the championship game, Gunnar Stockton comes in, all that. And he goes to Miami. And man, does he look so in command. He's doing whatever he wants to do. I'm really happy for him and his parents. I really am.
Marty, this is why I think this season for A&M is such an interesting place, because I don't know who, even these top-tier teams, I feel like they all seem vulnerable. So if A&M can get it out of its own way, right, limit these penalties and Marcel to continue to make the strides that I think he's making, I think it's all possible. It's all possible for many teams, Ole Miss included, Alabama, who everybody quit on a few weeks ago, right? Everything is possible for more teams than usual.
Yeah, and I think if Garrett Nussmeier could get healthy, it's obvious how beat up he is because he can't push the football like we're used to seeing. Definitely couldn't against Ole Miss. Fantastic win that Ole Miss had against LSU. And in talking to Lane after that, I didn't even get to say this on Marty McGee. We ran out of time, so here's a little insight for you. I asked Lane, what was the value of that win? Why did you have that reaction? Why was that the reaction? Because it was even more demonstrative than you're used to seeing from Lane. And he said, man, because nobody expected us to do it. He said, we've beaten LSU before. We've beaten them before, but nobody expected us to do it. And so for Ole Miss to beat LSU when we're not supposed to beat LSU, that's why I had the reaction that I had. And that tells you a lot. I mean, Trinidad Chambliss, had you heard of him when we kicked off week 0?
No.
Correct. Neither had I. Now he's on a Heisman list, dude. I mean, it's just, this is such a wild year, and it goes straight to what, David? It goes to the portal and the parity that's come with the portal. And the teams that have depth are the ones that to really look out for, and all those teams you just mentioned seem to have that. I mean, who would have said Austin Simmons goes out for 3 weeks and Ole Miss would remain undefeated? I wouldn't have.
Marty, let's close out with a question about Arkansas. After Florida A&M gets Arkansas, Bobby Petrino's the guy now. He was the guy before. Do we see a different version of this? Because he's changed out the defensive staff. He'll probably do some things a little bit differently offensively. Taylor Green's a dynamic player. What do you see from Arkansas moving ahead?
Nothing's impossible. Bobby obviously is a fantastic offensive mind, but Tennessee is a buzzsaw. And I don't see a whole lot of difference this weekend. Now, I still think Arkansas to win is going to have to outscore people, and they might be able to do that. They might. Bobby was already the offensive coordinator, so what level of difference will we really see? I don't know. Is he going to be able to galvanize guys in a way that Coach Pittman couldn't? I wasn't in that locker room. I don't know what the locker room energy was. But they couldn't stop a nosebleed before. So let's see what happens now with a new defensive staff. Look, man, Tennessee, I think, I haven't looked at the statistics this morning, but I think they have the second most potent offense statistically in the league right now. Arkansas has the worst total defense numbers in the league right now. The game's at Neyland Stadium. It's just not a good equation for the Hogs, man.
Marty, great stuff, man. Thanks for making a few minutes.
Always appreciate y'all, man. Have a great day, brother.
You too, man. Marty Smith there on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Appreciate his time. We'll hit a break. We'll read some text. We'll get Billy Liucci here in studio. Right now, though, we're talking about our good friends at Paragon Financial Advisors. That's where Stephen McGee works. If you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. You've got no sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. And what really sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA, the CPA, all on staff. And these folks take credentials seriously. They work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel great about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors.
Let's talk a little Snaps clothing. David Nuño here, and I love wearing Snaps clothing everywhere. I've got the flannel on right now. You've seen me in the Tailgater collection with the A&M gear. It is fantastic. If you see me around town with my sons, Christian and Cruz, they've got a bunch of Snaps gear. When they have big games for Consol, they wear nice clothes, so they wear their Snap stuff. And I'm telling you, with baseball season here, let's all kind of go looking stylish and fit to the games there at Olson wearing the Snaps clothing. As a reminder, they are the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snaps maker out there. Their Tailgater collection is built for game day with breathable, moisture-wicking fabrics to keep you comfortable while you rep your Aggies in style. Now, whether you're watching the game from home or maybe you're in attendance, you're tailgating, whatever it may be, you got to make sure you head to snapsclothing.com to see everything they have to offer. It is fashionable, it is awesome, and you're going to love it. I doubt many in our audience have watched the movie The Smashing Machine. Apparently, it only did $6 million this weekend. It was projected to do much better. It's The Rock. He usually does these blockbuster movies, but he's doing the story about Mark Kerr, an MMA fighter who fought in the UFC, his ups and downs. I saw the documentary, The Smashing Machine, 20-something years ago. It was great. So I'm a little sad about that. Anybody see it? Text us. I want to know what you thought about it, because I do want to see it. But most of us are more concerned about Aggie football. That's basically what's been taking up my time all weekend long. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Billy should join us here momentarily. We'll get to Billy here in a moment. We go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center, and Ella Ryan's got a text or two for us.
Yeah, I got a question. It says, do we think that Sanford almost has to stay the starter even when Scooby gets healthy?
I don't know. Some coaches have a philosophy that you don't lose your position because of injury. I just think it doesn't matter what they do. We know how good Scooby is, and now that Damian has proven his value as well, and by the way, Lockhart looked pretty good in my opinion as well, it just gives you a lot more options. So maybe Sanford starts again if Scooby's good to go this weekend as they ease him back, but I don't think he completely would lose his starting role. He's too important to that defense. With that, Billy Liucci joining us here in studio. Hello, Billy.
What's up, brother?
Any thoughts on that question?
Yeah, it was a good question because Damian's been really disruptive and impactful. I mean, in so many ways too. You see the, sack, forced fumble, the interception. You go all the way back to Notre Dame and the plays he was involved in there. I think a sack and it was a fourth down stop. So, yeah, I mean, I think that depends probably. I agree on that, you don't lose your job to injury, but sometimes you do, no matter who the coach is. That could be a philosophy. But Scooby was playing well well before he was hurt, and they love Scooby Williams on this defense. So first and foremost, the defense just got better when Damian Sanford gets to come in and start and play the way he is. He's all of a sudden a much better player. So not only does your defense get better in the future, your defense looks better as well. But look, I think with Scooby and Damian, it depends. Here's the thing that you have to look at. Like, what does it look like on tape? What does 50 what do 50 snaps look like versus each guy's three best plays? And I'm not I don't know the answer to that. It might be that Damian Sanford's hit this curve, hit this arc in his development where his 50 look as good as anybody on the defense, or it might be where he's still not consistent enough as Scooby was, or it might be neither one of them's the most consistent and they're both making plays. And if we can kind of mesh that and get the most out of them, and I'm not saying that is what it is, but to me, I could see both of them playing quite a bit when Scooby gets back and it's healthy. I don't think it's going to be. I'd be shocked. It's not going to be where 27 isn't playing. I mean, it's also not going to be where a healthy Scooby's not playing. So I think the team just got better, and now you have three linebackers that you can really trust to go in there and make plays and have an impact. And now maybe you're working on four with a guy like Lockhart.
When A&M is playing like they played in the second half of the game against Mississippi State, right? Mm-hmm. Limiting the penalties, offense moving, defense, playing as well as they played. Would you have them? What team in the country would you worry about that team playing against?
None, not one. I mean, I'm not saying they could beat all of them, but in the past there would be a team or two. I'm talking about when A&M was way up.
Yeah.
In the past, like 2012 A&M, you'd still worry about Bama, which was the best A&M team I think we've seen. 1998 A&M, there were a lot of teams, and this team kind of reminds me of that from a standpoint of they might play a lot of close games, but they've just got that DNA, and they're built to where they're going to win close games. Maybe not, though. Maybe they're just going to pull away in a lot of these games like they did Mississippi State. It feels like they learned from Auburn to Mississippi State, like they said, okay, we're fine. We've been in a close game like this. Now let's do what we didn't do last week and put these guys away. And they did that. And I know those calm, rational conversations don't really go on, but in the head, they're sitting there on the sideline, and whether it's all the fans or everyone, I was actually sitting over there by Ella and her family when the goal line stand, when A&M couldn't punch it in. It's like, it's frustrating, and you're down 3-0, and you're like, hey, you should have taken the lead right there, and you could build it up before halftime. God forbid you go behind 10-0 here. But they're not going to drive 98 on A&M, and you're going to get the ball back, and you're going to figure this out. It's a different feeling. It's a good feeling. And I can imagine if we're feeling that way, the team is that and then some. So on that schedule, David, I mean, not on that schedule, but on the schedule against anyone, like, who would you – here's my thing. And I keep listening to college football, and they're giving A&M a ton of credit. But they're also so reluctant to include them and leave some of these other newcomers behind and put A&M into that group with the teams that they expected to be there, which were Ohio State, Oregon, and then also Miami. Now, Miami, to me, is the one team that's proven more on the field than A&M. And I still, by the way, wouldn't be scared of Miami. They were in a really close game with Florida in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame gave them everything they could handle, just like they gave A&M. So, I mean, I'm not putting them on any sort of pedestal. And I know Pate went down there and said they just looked different. I believe that because the way Cristobal recruits. But Miami's the most proven team in America. Would you be scared to play them?
No.
If they were coming to Kyle Field this weekend, would you be chalking that up as
what's the common opponent?
That's what I'm saying. And they both won essentially at the end of the game. And
one on the road, one at home.
On the road. And by the way, I think CJ Carr, it was his first game. Then he had a bye week. Then he was playing at home. I think A&M saw a much better version, which is what you've seen the rest of the season. And frankly, it's what Miami saw in the second half of that game. But Miami is the most proven, and I think they've looked the best so far. So when you don't want to put A&M in that group, and I'm not saying that the Aggies are going to go out and win a national title. I'm not saying they're going to come out of these next 3 games unscathed. I want them to. We all want them to, but it's not going to be the end of the world if they don't. The magic number, I believe, is 10. The other magic number is 2 or less. And I also don't think anyone's going through the SEC 8-game schedule this year undefeated. I just don't. But if you look at these other teams, you go, okay, why can't we mention A&M with Oregon? What is it? Because what I was listening this morning to a couple of shows where they were like, well, Reed could limit their ceiling. Really? Like, as opposed to who? Can Marcel, is he incapable of having a game like going on the field one day and playing as well as Julian's saying?
I mean, he's done it this year already.
We're hyping up Dante Moore at Oregon, and I get it. He looks great, but who now that we revisit, who have they played? Who has he looked great against?
A Penn State team that now we have questions about, which those
Penn
questions
State
are there
team
before.
That Nico Viella looked great against. He played better against them than Moore did against Penn State. So
proud of you for pronouncing that
Oregon's
proud of you for pronouncing that name. That's a hard one.
I don't even know if I said it right. But Moore played, Oregon's played Penn State. That's it. That is their resume booster, is an overtime. And take nothing away from that. That is in Happy Valley at a whiteout with Penn State having everything to play for. They did not see the same Penn State team UCLA did. Flying across the country after a loss. Against a normal team, they should have been on upset alert. Not a team that's 0-4 and hadn't been
fired their coach already.
And had 2 non-Power 5 losses already. They should have never. But normally they didn't play the same Penn State team. I get that. credit Oregon for that's a nice win, but that's all you've got, and that win just went and lost to UCLA. Okay, so and then Ohio State beat who?
A Texas team that's
they
lost
beat
two.
A Texas team that's lost 3 in a row now to to Power 5 teams. Should have been 4 when you think of Arizona State, where they would have been a massive upset. This is a Texas team that has not beaten a Power 5 team this year, and they fell out of the rankings because they're now 0-2. And I got news for you. I know the score didn't say what the score said about the same. It felt like Florida beat them worse than Ohio State did in terms of beating them up. So that's, I guess Ohio State went out to UW and beat a team that took a miracle to beat Maryland. Like, nothing about these resumes scream you can't include A&M, because what don't you like about A&M? Because I'll tell you, that same quarterback had 400 yards and 3 touchdowns in South Bend and a game-winning throw at the end. That's what he's capable of. The same quarterback, just calmly went through Mississippi State like water in the second half last week. Same quarterback has had go-ahead drive after go-ahead drive in the fourth quarter in his last few games. So, what do you want? You want a running game? How's 500 yards in 2 SEC games look? And by the way, they ran it solidly against Notre Dame. You want defense? Look at these last 2 games. I'm not sure Texas A&M isn't playing defense as good as anyone in the SEC. They are as good as anyone in the SEC right now on that side of the ball. You want a passing game? You want Casey Concepcion and Mario Craver? You want to deal with that? You want resiliency? Play in a tight game, blow out a team. Play in a tight game for 4 quarters, go win it on defense. Play in a tight game for 4 quarters on the road against a top 10 team, win it with your offense. You want a coach that has his culture instilled. You want a guy that so far has, I think, outcoached Freeman, Freeze, and Levy. I don't know how much those last 2 matter, but check the box in coaching. Check the box on defense. Check the box on offense. Run game, pass game, run defense. They're starting to get after the quarterback, you want a pass rush, they've got it. So you want depth in the backfield. Hey, Moss is banged up a little bit. Let's trot out Ruben Owens out there more, 140 yards. So this is a team that can adapt. They can win different ways. They believe, and they've got a resume. So show me the other team that you can say all of those things about. And people will say Oregon, they'll say Ohio State, they'll say, to me it's really right now just Miami. And I think Ohio State should be number 1. I think Oregon is a real national title contender. Don't get me wrong. You should be including A&M in that discussion until they prove they can't. And we know that these next 3 are going to be brutally tough starting Saturday. On that flip side, you want to say Texas Tech? What have they done? They've beaten Utah, and they'll play no one else. They will play no one else. You want to say Alabama? They look really good. I'm watching them, though, and I could have seen a world where they lost at home to Vandy. Pavia doesn't make those mistakes. I'm watching them. I go, yeah, beating Georgia was really impressive. Tennessee should have done that the week before. Tennessee, I'm hearing all about Bama's offense and Ty Simpson. They go 24 and really 23 until that last second against Georgia and Vandy. Look what Tennessee did to Vandy. Look what Tennessee did against Mississippi State Tennessee did to Georgia. Look what they did a week later against Mississippi State. And then look at Vandy and say Vandy's known a lot more for their offense and their defense, and Bama's sitting at home on 23 points, 59 minutes and 30 seconds into that game. And they got their asses whipped by Florida State. So, to me, instead of trying to lump other teams into and push A&M back into this pack, for right now, this week, as we sit here and look at what's happened through the games played, push A&M up and make that a group of 4, not a group of 3.
We got to hit a break. We're 10 minutes late. Get your counter ready. Pumpkin Palooza, the Brazos Valley favorite fall festival, is happening here real soon, October the 18th and 19th at Milliken Reserve in South College Station. The pumpkins do really fly. The festival's famous pumpkin chunkin' launchers send pumpkins soaring. You have hay rides. You've got pumpkin painting, farm and animals, inflatables games, and pumpkin game teams competition. You can fly cast on Saturday with the Good Fly Roundup, the pumpkin trail run on Sunday, the mountain biking on Sunday as well, wildflower mead and beer garden and beer by the lake. You've got ticket savings. Online tickets are just $20 in September, which is no longer the case. So you better do it right now. You can buy early still and save, though. Community impact. Every ticket supports Milliken Reserve's Land Conservancy. And you can get all this information by emailing info@millikenreserve.com for information. But 2 venues, 1 event. Go to pumpkinpaloozabcs.com. Tickets are good for both days. And we're back. It is TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. I really like this because we're going to make this a short segment, Billy. I like this. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. I'm sure that Ella can look it up. But I know what the time of possession ended at.
Yeah.
If you can look up what the time of possession was in the first half for me, where the game ended at, though, against a team with the spread that likes to, speed things up and also kind of get your defense off kilter. Time of possession, 38 for A&M, 21 for Mississippi State. And I'm fairly sure those numbers were a little bit more similar in the first half as Ella looks that up.
That's a massive disparity. And look, when you run for 300 yards, that tends to happen. I give a lot of credit to the way the Aggies handled Mississippi State's spread and tempo this week. That outfit, that type offense hasn't. It's interesting under Elko, and I think he's got better situation now with it, with the players he's got in, but particularly in the secondary. By the way, this is where he's talked a lot about upgrading the players on the back end. And by the way, if you look at the group of true freshmen and the group that they've got committed, it's only going up. But that's helped them, I think, tremendously. That short passing game, the tackling A&M's been doing right now, the last two games, the open field tackling, the flying to the football, they're confident, all those things. It allows you we're going to throw it quick. He's going to break a tackle. He's going to gain 7 or 8 yards. If he gets tackled, it's a 1 to 2 yard gain. A&M was keeping those 1, 2, 3 yard gains. They weren't giving up these 7, 6, 7, 8 yard gains on the kind of what you'd call like extended running game where they're just assuming they're going to open field, break a play. They took that away completely. They really shut down that running game, save for there was one long one late, and that one drive, they really went right down the field on A&M, that second drive of the game. Even with those included, they really contained Bothwell in that Mississippi State ground game. That's what really gets you in trouble with them. If they can run it, get a first down tempo, pass it, pick up a first down, come right to the line, get you misaligned, snap the ball, run it. Arkansas used to do that under Kendall Briles. The Aggies had a rough start back in, I think, 21 up in Dallas against that. Obviously, Lane Kiffin, who worked with Lebby, used to do that. They'd put up numbers against the Aggies. I can remember one at Kyle Field here where their combination of Jackson Dart and their running game, they had a 1-2 punch in that one of really good ones. And they ran all over. I think they might have run for 400 against A&M that day. So the way Elko and Bateman and that defensive staff had those guys prepared mentally is as impressive as how prepared they were physically. And then once they put them in down and distance, man, they got after Blake Shapen. They got after him from the beginning all the way through the end. And this pass rush, Nuño, what did I say all offseason?
You said that it was going to develop in time and they were going to...
No, I did not say that.
What did you say?
I said they were going to be a lot better this year as a pass rush than they were. I said despite losing Scorton and Stewart, I thought this unit had a chance to be a better pass rush because I was more concerned with the run defense. I thought the pass rush was going to be improved. And before anyone was talking about number 9, Cassius Howell, we were talking about him right here. And now everybody, we've been talking about him. My ass you were. You started that like after the spring, I think. Forget the break. We're done right here.
Sorry, Brian Broadcasting.
Sorry, Brian Broadcasting. But anyway, look, the pass rush is something that I don't think people outside of College Station are really taking notice of as compared to last year. So Mike Elko now, and I'm not sure, maybe when Clemens and Tyree Johnson were seniors, this might be the best pass rush Elko will have had. You watch. We'll see how the season plays out.
Time of possession at the half, A&M was up by 4 minutes, but at the end of the first quarter, Mississippi State was up by 4 minutes. So that just shows you how dominant they were from the second quarter on, especially in the second half. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with the shortest segment of short segments next on TexAgs Live. We are back. People can hear us saying you're not back.
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back. We've been back.
We're back.
Hey, by the way, insurance decisions shouldn't be made in 15 minutes or less. Rollo Insurance Group builds lasting relationships through education, helping you understand what you're buying and the why behind it. They got expertise in everything from home to auto to business, you name it, and specialty covers. Their independent agents provide a option tailored to your specific needs. They take time to explain the policy in plain language, ensuring you're never left wondering about coverage. This educational approach empowers you to make informed decisions about protecting your family and your business. Many clients discover better protection at competitive rates simply because they finally understand their options. Visit rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs to get more information or call them up directly, 888-44-ROLLO. That is rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. Ella Ryan, Angry Elephant News and Social Center. We have exactly 42 seconds left in this segment. So I know a great text message.
Interesting.
And this is the hard out. Very interesting. Very interesting situation.
According to ESPN, A&M is the #1 team in the nation for strength of record. OB was talking about it earlier, and he was thinking we were 5 or something, but we're #1.
#1.
I like it. Ella coming in and just slapping Olin around. He named himself Olymp today. Olymp.
Is he limping?
Yeah, so he can name himself. Yeah, that's a great stat because it kind of goes along with what I said. Like, I would have thought maybe it was Miami. But, yeah, A&M and Miami, when you're talking about the teams that are, what are they? Okay, there you go. When you're talking about the teams that I think on field have proven the most so far, which is one element, obviously, it's those two.
Thank you, Billy.
How about that? You have time to spare.
We'll be back. It's TexAgs Live.
And we're back solo once again here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm going to do the old flipperoo here. I'm going to do the live spot now as Billy works his way in here. A moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, and online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. If you are a business owner and you're ready to take your operation to the next level, Caldwell Country Chevrolet is going to take great care of you because they've expanded their selection of commercial vehicles to meet your every need. They've got service body trucks. They have heavy-duty flatbeds. They have medium-duty trucks that can handle those tough jobs, and they got the muscle for your business demands. And they are also a newly designated business elite dealer, which means they understand what it takes to keep your company moving forward. Every commercial vehicle comes with that legendary free oil change for life because they believe in supporting local businesses like they support Aggie athletics. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. We go to the Angry Elephant. News and Social Center. Commentary from the humans.
Yeah, from our premium chat, there's some word on the street that we are wearing the 75 throwbacks for the Florida game.
Okay. Do we know what that?
Yeah, A&M, they haven't put out the uniforms officially yet, but Texas A&M football on Twitter changed their logo to the throwback logo. So I'm working on doing so on all my game graphics accordingly.
Can you show me what that looks like, Nick? Is that something that'll be easier to put up on the
do you see that right there in the lower third? See that? I know you gotta have to squint a little bit.
I can see that. Yeah, a little skinnier version. Yeah, back in the day. This guy's been on a keto diet. Sorry, old man jokes. What else do we have, Ella?
Okay, 5-0 from Trey and Shiner says, we have scratched the surface of this team. If we put it together, watch out. Now my boy Dalton is playing better, but can we please wrap up?
I think they've done a much better job wrapping up. Like, they do fly to the football. Like, that's... And I'll actually bring this up with Billy when he walks in here. I remember how I felt a year ago right around this time. Okay? At this time, they were, 4-1. And I just remember thinking, God, we could be really good this year. And we're very fortunate in many areas. But I see this issue. And this issue was we had problems with the offense, right? We had problems wrapping up. We had problems stopping the run. We had big plays that were gashing. And I know we had a couple of those early on this season. And the Notre Dame game was a shootout. But I don't know if Auburn and Mississippi State, who Mississippi State did score 35 on Tennessee, but I don't know if this is a reflection of how great the defense is, but the defense is much improved regardless. They're getting after the quarterback, they are limiting teams' running ability, and they're wrapping up. And those are three questions we had entering this season. Will they be able to put pressure on the quarterback? Billy talked about how he felt very good about it because the way Cassius Howell was shining during spring ball. We did not know how they would stop the run. And the last few weeks, they've done an excellent job stopping the run. And if you take away the UTSA big run by Robert Henry Jr., they've been really good all year long. I know that Utah State had a big run. And big runs are going to happen. We're not talking about this is a different brand of football than we got in the 80s and 90s. But all those things being said, I feel significantly better about where this team is this year at this point compared to this year at this point last year, Billy. Do you agree with that? I was just kind of going over how I felt at this point last year, where I was like, I love that we're 4-1 and we look good, but I still have these questions about the big plays being gashed. I still have questions about wrapping up. I still have questions stopping the run. I have significantly less questions about those things this year at this point.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean,
you got to put on your mic. Sorry. Right. Yeah.
Last year at this point, we had what? We had a loss to Notre Dame, a win at Florida, and I think that was...
Did we have the Missouri win yet?
No,
Arkansas.
Not at 4-1. Probably a win at Arkansas.
Yep.
Or win in Dallas against Arkansas. So, yeah, I think this team's proven a hell of a lot more, but more importantly, like you said, name an area. You feel way better about quarterback. I think you feel way better about the running game than you did at this time a year ago. I mean, well, just look at it this way. Forget about how you feel. What's
Eyeball?
true?
Yeah.
No, what's actually true. You're better at quarterback. You're better on the O-line. You're more proven and better in the backfield.
You're better at wide receiver.
You're infinitely better at wide receiver. You're better at tight end. So there's your offense. And I don't think even the most pessimistic glass half full Aggie would have to agree with every single thing I just said. And you're much better offensively. Now, go to the other side of the ball. You're better. You have a better pass rush. You're better at linebacker. If anything, it's just because those two guys are better, and now you've got Sanford emerging. And you're
better in the secondary.
Light years better in the secondary.
And you're better stopping the run.
And your stats are better, and you're tested. You're tested like I know Auburn's offense stinks, okay? Now they've got players that you were able to prove, hey, you're better tackling in space, you're better in the secondary because the way you cover Coleman and Singleton and I think again this weekend with Thompson and Edwards, they got you one time really for that one big play. But Mississippi State's offense is not bad. You saw them you saw them in that game against Arizona State, and they beat them, who would otherwise be undefeated. And then they should have beat Tennessee, who's sitting at 4-1 with an overtime loss to Georgia, and they had that one. So I mean, look, I think they're way more proven in every one of those aspects. And as you look at the team, the Aggies are almost better at every single position on the field, and they're certainly better on defense. It's not even close. And they are certainly better on offense. It's not even close.
No, I think every respect to this team.
And that's a credit to, by the way, Elko.
And by the way, let's just say, for instance, you don't buy Florida being good. You don't buy Auburn being good. You don't buy, let's just say that's, if you want to make these comparisons with other schedules. A&M's schedule looks a lot more manageable than what we thought heading into the season. So far, 5 games in, it seems to be more manageable. I think Mississippi State was a better team than we expected, but A&M handled them completely in the second half. Missouri appears to be a much better team this year. We're about to find out when they play Alabama. You looked at Florida is probably worse than we thought, but certainly very capable of beating you.
Florida's not worse than we thought. Now, that Florida team we saw Saturday was what I thought. Not great, not unbeatable, not a SEC title contender, but good. And good enough to beat, just about anybody.
The South Florida losses, I guess why I say that.
Yeah, no. I think record-wise, they're way worse. But I'm just saying it seems like after a bye, beating Texas, they looked for the first time like the team I would have thought they were going to look like, which is good enough to beat anybody, but also inconsistent enough to lose to anybody. That's why I picked Florida to go like 7-5, but it was 7-5 on a brutally tough schedule.
Yeah. I'm going to read this stat from Luke. Second half pure dominance as the Aggies ran for 6.4 yards per carry to State's 1.7, putting up 300 total yards to State's 112, and had 12 first downs to their 6. And he talks a little bit about Elko's halftime adjustments. There is a chess match being played during this game, during all these games, I should say. And that's what we've seen from this team pretty much in all these games. There was a chess match in the Notre Dame game. We saw it in the Auburn game. We're seeing that happen.
Yeah, no. Look, Elko has always had a reputation for making terrific halftime adjustments. I think we've seen enough to watch these halftime speeches to know that he knows how to push the right buttons. And I think the ones you don't see are probably a lot more intense and more like what you saw throwing the chair. I'm not saying he's in there launching chairs every week, but just more. I'd be curious just to know what the conversation was like this weekend, because I could have seen it being a lot more intense. I know somebody was asking me, like, why aren't they going to try to score there at the end of the half? And I was like, I think because that punt was so far down there, it was like if you popped a 12, 13, 14-yard run on that first play, then you go full throttle. But the way the game was going, it was like, we're just glad right now to be up. Had we gotten the ball outside of the 30, it would have been different. But let's just go in the locker room, and I think Elko probably couldn't wait to get in there and really let those guys have it. for their performance. Really offensively, but just team-wise, you could just tell them, don't let these guys hang around and say it in a not-so-pleasant manner.
The other part of that running attack that I wanted to make sure that we touched on was what they were able to do in the fourth quarter. They rushed for 135 yards. So we talk about Ruben Owens' stats, but the ability to close out a game using your offensive line and your run game was on full display in the fourth quarter.
I thought Mississippi State, Lebby kind of gives off like tough guy vibes, like, hey, Art Briles is down here on the field. I'm going to do what I want. That's my family. And I'm that's a separate issue, but just the way he says it and the way he's an old lineman at OU, right? I remember him as a recruit. He gives off, ball coach vibes and like tough guy vibes, which it's not an insult. It is what it is. But I thought he came in, and I thought Mississippi State thought they could play a physical kind of game that A&M wasn't going to like. Against the run, the way they lined up with those safeties. I looked up one time, and they were like, one of them was like 6 yards from the line of scrimmage, the other's like 8. And I in that goal line stand, and I think they came in and they thought with the running game, I think they thought they were going to gash A&M on the ground, and thought Bothwell and who's their other tailback was good. That thought they were going to finish runs and wear down this A&M defense with tempo and with the ground game. And A&M just said, you're in the wrong. I wrote it today. Lebby and those guys should have left Kyle Field, packed up their crap, loaded up the buses, headed to the airport, and gone back to Starkville the minute they saw Eye Patch Reveille come out of the locker room. When you got a collie coming out with an eye patch on pregame, just pack your crap up and go home, because that was all. And the game went exactly like that. A&M and Miss Rev, it was a physical beatdown that was befitting of a blackout, because Mississippi State left black and blue, and they tried to play a physical game with A&M, and they got their asses kicked up and down the field from about the final 4 minutes of the second quarter on. The rest of that game was actually an epic physical beating that Mississippi State took. And I think there was a conscious effort to try to test A&M's physicality and kind of say, hey, Craver, Concepcion, we're going to try to get physical with them. We're going to try to get hits on Reed. We're going to get in there and stuff their running game. We're going to run the ball on them. We're going to win the battle, in the rushing battle. And it wasn't even close, and it wasn't competitive. And that was really encouraging to see from the Aggies, because, again, you've seen them challenged in so many different ways already this season, and they just keep accepting the challenge, defeating it, and walking off the field a winner.
Hey, so I did not see the comments from Brandon Walker, but I guess somebody asked about it on the chat, so that's why I'm bringing it up. He said that A&M and Mississippi State are basically the same level of program.
Yeah,
I didn't see
silly.
That. But I'm just looking at some of these numbers. I asked AI, what's this?
God.
I just did on Google.
You could have found one on Twitter. Go ahead. Go ahead. While you're talking,
since the 2012 season and the end of the 24 season, Mississippi State's got 77 wins and 70 losses. Texas A&M 109 wins and 59 losses. So I don't know how true that is. I mean, you would think Google knows what it's talking about, but according to AI Overview through Google, that's the stat.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the deal, and it was born out of, I think his point was basically it's the same thing Aggies have said. Let's be honest. All these resources, everything A&M's got, and they were 7-6 in 13 SEC games against Mississippi State. And I don't care what the all-time record is. I know the Bulldogs won the Snow Bowl. I think, I saw Jackie Sherrill Saturday. I'm sure that still matters to him. I've blocked that one out because that left me sick for like 2 months, standing in tennis shoes and wet socks in that snow for 4 hours, only to watch A&M just blow that game in spectacular fashion. But since joining the SEC, 7-6 against Mississippi State is not, Aggies will tell you, it's not good enough. And if you're Mississippi State, you're going, we don't really worry about A&M head-to-head. Now, I will say this. It's now 8-6, and Texas A&M has
3 out of the last 4.
kicked 3 out of 4, no, 4 out of 5, and they've kicked the crap out of Mississippi State in 3 of those games. The last 3 have been blowout city here. They beat them by 14 or so, maybe 16 in Starkville last year, 2 scores. And then they humiliate. I mean, it was the worst. Both teams fired their coach the next day. That was Mississippi State coming in Jimbo's last game.
Yep.
And that was like 100-7 or whatever it was. So, yeah, they've humiliated the Bulldogs the last 3 times they've met. I'd like to see the cumulative scores and stats from those and 4 of the last 5, going back to what you said. So, yeah, I mean, it's leveled up, but here's some, it's just silly. Like, if you read some of those numbers and just rip through them, because go ahead.
So 103rd all-time record versus 25th. It's 44th, no national championships. Conference championships, 100. I don't understand these.
Okay, things. Never mind, David.
I ruined that. I'm sorry. Your phone.
I'm sorry, guys.
With your dim.
Look.
Can you put some brightness up on that?
I mean, every single number on this graph except one, and the only thing that they've got is they've got a higher bowl percentage in. They've got a better bowl record. Okay, that's it. Out of like a dozen metrics, and by the way, the other 11 really aren't even close. It's not comparable. It hasn't been comparable since A&M joined the SEC. The biggest myth is that A&M has struggled in the Southeastern Conference. That is not true. They've done plenty compared to other programs in this league since joining. And that's with the specter of Nick Saban and Alabama hanging over them every single year, like everyone in the West had to deal with. It's the biggest misconception is that A&M hasn't gotten their footing under them in the SEC. They never didn't have footing. They've had some of the same struggles that everyone else has, everyone except Bama. Even Georgia did early on in A&M's SEC tenure. And if you look at their record, I think it's the 4th best of the 14 regular teams since they joined. It might be 5th, but it's no worse. It's 4th or 5th out of 14 teams since they joined the conference. They've got a lot of big wins. Unfortunately for Mississippi State, even the wins over Mississippi State aren't typically big because the Bulldogs are usually, like they were Saturday night, unranked. That's Casey and Brandon banter on Barstool. He's given A&M credit a lot this year. So is T-Bob. But I do think a lot of people are just waiting for A&M to stumble. It's just what it is. So it'll make it that much sweeter when they don't. It'll make it that much sweeter when they don't. But remember, there are a lot of stumbling blocks. No one is going to go through the season without stumbling. In fact, who was the best team in the country last year?
Ohio State, who struggled.
How many games did they lose?
They lost 2 in the playoffs.
They
lost their last game in the regular season.
They were 10-2, and they rolled to a national title. Really, I mean, nobody was questioning that they were the best team in the country down there. So, again, I'm not saying, hey, A&M lose games. The more they can win, the more you can have a second half like Mississippi State and smack them around. The more you can hold on to win with defensive stops against Auburn, get that dramatic last play victory against Notre Dame. You've avoided a couple of potential losses and you put a team away and you look to be getting better and better and better. Just keep playing weeks and get further and further to where you look up and you go, oh, wow, they're probably in. Or, oh, wow, if they split their last 4, they're in. Just keep pushing it to that point. And these wins right now, particularly the way the Auburn and Notre Dame game went, man, you have avoided, you have pushed like significant steps forward towards that goal every time you win a game. And this one this weekend is going to be really, really tough. It's the best defense A&M will have faced this year. It's an offense with a NFL running back, a
NFL quarterback,
potentially great quarterback, but I'm still putting him in the. He's still got to prove it, kind of like you do with Arch and some of these younger guys. But a quarterback that, when he's good, is really tough to stop, and a freshman sensation at receiver. And oh, by the way, they also have a really good O-line. This is a team that should be a top 15 football team. So on any Saturday, they can play like that, and that's fine. If they do, a top 15 team coming on the road in front of 108,000 at night against a top 5 team, I'll take my chances. That's where the Aggies are at right now. As you wear a shirt that you could wear to the game and look like
like a Florida Gator?
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about it today.
It's a very Gator shirt.
No, I think it's more.
It's Chris Doering is going to love that shirt when he comes on.
I don't think it's very. Yeah, it is.
He's going to think
Florida.
you're honoring
God
him.
Bless. I'm going to just go shirtless. There you go. Just for that.
Well, the two of y'all would probably do that. He's another tank.
I've seen him do it.
There's a 50-50 chance he's going to be on in a tank top.
Oh, 100%.
No, he won't, because they're doing their morning show right now.
Okay. We'll hit a break. Right now we're talking about Heritage Films. That's Chance McClain's company. They do several types of movies for families, right? They do the Heritage Film, which is like a documentary about your family business. And it's awesome, right? They'll tell the whole story about your grandfather, your mother, your sister, whoever it may be. Awesome. They also do the Farm and Ranch Films, which they'll tell a story about your farm and your ranch. And many of you have got awesome places that you want to keep that story for the next generation that's going to inherit it. They do that. They also do the Year Flicks, which are the shorter videos, 20 minutes or so, Q&As with the youngers in your family. Chance is a master storyteller. He's fantastic. Check out the website, yourheritagefilm.com. yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It is Heritage Films. The weekend was great. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. GD6994 on the YouTube page says, Billy, do you think the Aggies have earned themselves a high penalty / chronic holding tag or issue with SEC officials so now that every 50-50 call will go against the Ags?
I'll tell you the one that said, I'm gonna. You might see me race.
You don't have your mic on. You're anti-mic.
You might see me race on the field and celebrate this at any point if A&M has a long kick or punt return that is not penalized. That's getting ridiculous. And by the way, if they're watching the tape and think they're legitimate holding calls, then Elko's got to be pretty livid about that at his own players and special teams units as well. But man, a couple of them look a little dicey where I'm like, did they really call that? You could do that on every return. The one that pissed me off this week the most was
DJ.
Yeah, where he gets shoved into the quarterback by the offensive lineman that he had beat. He had beaten the offensive lineman. He's riding his back into the quarterback and just, hits him right in the mouth. And
on a third down play, by the way.
On a third down play, extended the drive. It was, I think, the game,
14-3 at that point.
Was it even 14-3 or was it 7? I think it was 14-3. And then you get the right after that, you get the interception by Hicks's high school teammate and close friend, bailing him out for a mistake that he should not have been flagged for. Damian Sanford with the INT. So that was a ball don't lie moment, but still, it's just like, my gosh, guys, what are we doing?
Well, and it was interesting. We were looking through the most penalized teams in the country, and a lot of them are highly ranked teams.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, Texas A&M. I think Oklahoma was on
Texas
there.
is up there, but they're not. They're not ranked.
Yeah.
They did the whole. I could have sworn there was a fan base that had a lot of fun, way too much fun with a team falling from number 1 to unranked in record time.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, but I could swear I remember that.
Yeah, I do.
And I just absolutely remember that happening. I felt like it was maybe in March or April sometime, and those same people are real quiet today, aren't they?
You see any? No, I'm not going to even go there. I was going to say
real quiet today.
Huh?
They're real quiet.
They are a little quiet. Have you had fun on social media with such receipts?
Yeah, but I haven't had enough time as I'd like because we're still writing. So we got stories to write and put out that take precedent.
Let's do this, Billy, because we have Chris Doering joining us at 10:45. Let's hit a break on time.
Okay.
Then do a short segment. Then we'll finish with Doering. Sound good? All right, we'll hit a break here. It is TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers and the Rollo Insurance Studio. I was happy for Mario Craver this weekend. Obviously, he always is somebody you can expect to have big games, but against his former team, finished with 115 total yards and a rushing touchdown. The first score was on the ground of his first score on the ground of his career. 80 receiving yards, second lowest output of the season for him.
That's crazy. Well, and he had 34 against Auburn and had that 25-ish yard touchdown called back, so he would have probably felt a lot better. I knew he was going to have a good game against his former team. He's that competitive. Obviously, after Notre Dame, teams are really going to be not wanting to get let number one run free across the field against them time after time. It's gonna circle back, and you're just not like this week. I just wonder if Mississippi State felt like they contained Mario and KC. Because they combined for 200 all-purpose, not all-purpose, 200 yards from scrimmage combined and 3 touchdowns. Did you contain them because Mario's touchdown run wasn't, his score didn't come from far out? Did you contain KC because he only had one long play?
It was 34
and
yards,
2 touchdowns. Mario's run was 34.
No,
Casey's catch, yeah.
Casey's catch was 34, and Mario had a 42-yard reception.
Yeah. Did you contain them because they each only had one big play? And yeah, they scored 3 touchdowns, but only one of them was from more than 20 yards out.
I'll take that containing.
I will too. My point is, how scared were the Mississippi State defensive coaches of this duo? If you just sold them on, hey, they'll each have about 100 yards, would they have taken that? Because I'm not sure they would have said no to it. I'm only slightly exaggerating. Sure. But those guys, again, it felt like they have set the bar so high that you're like, they both had a good game. Those are great games by both of them against an SEC defense to each have right around, to combine 2 receivers for 200 yards of offense and 3 touchdowns. We don't see that very often at A&M, period. But these guys have done that, it feels like, multiple times already this year, probably 3, so if not 4. So they are, I really think they've done that 4 out of 5 games. Notre Dame, the only game they didn't was Auburn.
I'm looking something up real quick.
Yeah, this duo is so fun to watch. I am happy for Mario. You know why, too? I saw some nasty crap written about him on, one guy, but others were nasty about him, too, on social media. Mm-hmm. And, I see some A&M fans taking, veiled shots at, a Noah Thomas, but it's not, nothing I've seen has been nasty.
Yep.
And, something you wouldn't say to another forget about saying to the person's face. I wouldn't look at you and say it off camera about what some of the stuff people were saying about Mario. And I can't imagine the amount of smack talk going on in game. Now, after the game, I saw your video and I was standing by you. There are plenty of friendships over there, but competitive smack talking, how much of that was going on in game. And you also know how badly those coaches over there in maroon and white wanted to shut down number one, and they were unable to do so. So I do love that for Mario. And by the way, I didn't expect anything less.
Yep.
That dude is a freaking dog. He's no longer a bulldog, though, thank God. He's an Aggie.
I want to read this stat, and this is not a shot at Noah by any stretch, because I love Noah. I wish you were still here. Last year on the season, 39 receptions, 574 yards.
Yep.
Already on the year, Mario Craver is at 557 yards. And we're 5 games in.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Casey Concepcion, who's starting to get hot the last couple of weeks, 24 receptions, 401 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
And it ain't going good for Noah at Georgia.
3 catches on the year.
It's insane. But, again, it was my whole thing was, hey, if you got to go, go to U of H and catch passes from your boy Wigman.
Yeah.
Who, I guess, I didn't see how he got hurt in that game.
I didn't see it either. I heard he did not come back in.
Yeah, he didn't. But, go do that or go to Ohio State or Bama or somewhere where I mean, even if you would, I appreciate someone not going to Texas, but they could use the help right now. But that was my thing with the whole deal. Like, if you're moving on, but so it's worked out great. A&M doesn't need Micah Hudson. It turns out they don't need Noah. I do think having him, you'd be a better receiver core even than you are today. They didn't want to lose him, but you don't see people going around trashing the guy and wishing misfortune on him. And you know what, Mississippi State, I hope whatever fan said all that, it doesn't faze you because you just say things and move on, but move about your day and probably say things miserable about the next guy. But it's just nice to know that you lost. Your team lost and you were unhappy on Saturday.
All right, we'll head a break. We'll come back. Chris Doering from the SEC Network will join us next to get you ready for the Florida game. That and more is TexAgs Live. And we are back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Rollo Insurance Studio should have Chris Doering here in studio momentarily. So, in fact, I see him getting up on the Zoom. I'm interested in this matchup because I think Florida's got a little bit of some of the things that worry me when you take on a team that's got a dynamic quarterback, a team that's got a really good defense, and a team that can run the ball. Let's go to the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our friend Chris Doering from the SEC Network, and of course played at Florida in the NFL. Chris, good morning, buddy. How you been?
I'm good. What's up, boys? Good to be on with you.
CD.
It's that
How we doing there?
It's that week, buddy.
Luch is rubbing it into me last night, David. Like he's like, man, you just gotta be here. You gotta get that in your contract. Every time that Florida and Texas A&M play, you gotta be there. So I have tremendous FOMO now looking at you boys, and certainly as we get to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, I'm gonna be hating it.
Man, I just want it in there. Like if we play South Carolina here, Alyssa gets to come. Florida, CD gets to be here.
Yeah.
LSU, Burns is here. Like it should. Roman, Alabama comes. Let's get Roman here. I mean, that's what I need just for socially and for y'all. For you, you've never been.
That's the problem with this league is we develop such great friendships with all of the other schools and guys from these schools. And so it truly is a miss when I don't get to be there. But, yeah, I've been there. I've called a couple games there over my career, but haven't really had the full College Station experience. So I promise I'm coming this offseason, man.
Well, it's getting it suddenly got a lot more interesting, didn't it, CD? For the last couple weeks, you know how A&M's just keeps winning, and what happened in the Swamp this weekend, I think changes how everyone's going to view this game. It was one that I looked at and wasn't chalking up anyway, just because of that Gator defense. But now what the whole team did, you saw that locker room afterwards, and look, you'll be the first to tell us Napier and Lagway in Florida have to follow it up and continue to get better. But take us through what you saw from this football team on Saturday en route to beating Texas, which in a game that I thought they just absolutely controlled from wire to wire on both sides of the ball, especially both lines of scrimmage.
Let me start with the praise for the Aggies first and foremost. I just got off doing another radio interview, and I have Ole Miss at the top of my power rankings. I have Alabama right behind them. But I think Texas A&M has the highest ceiling of any team in the SEC right now, and they're figuring things out. They can win in a number of different ways, but I think you're seeing the personality of who they want to be. That's a team that's proving that they can run the football with over 200 yards, almost 300 yards this past weekend, and the smothering nature of that defense. So I'm excited about where the Aggies are heading right now. But as it relates to Florida, I was very happy on Saturday and also very pissed off because I'm thinking, like, this is a great win, but where the hell has it been the rest of the season? You know, you get off to another slow start. You look at the play calling, getting Jaden Ball the ball 8 times on that first drive. That's what you should have been doing all season long. Pushing the ball down the field. I know Dallas Wilson made his debut, but there's a number of other really talented receivers around DJ Lagway. So pushing the ball down the field is something I would have liked to have seen. But to your point, the defense has really been lights out, and what has kept Florida even in some of these ball games that they've had a chance to be competitive with LSU, Miami. So it finally, you felt like you got a 3-phase performance. You get the block punt for the safety. The offense puts up 27 of their own. So I like the direction of this program, but can you keep it going? Can you go on the road and sustain that same level of effort? I thought the Swamp crowd was really a factor. 5 false start penalties, 1 delay a game penalty. But obviously, they're stepping into one of the most intimidating environments there at Kyle Field. So anxious to see how DJ Lagway handles that, how DJ Lagway handles the emotion. Luch, you and I have talked about him growing up an Aggie fan. What's it going to be like? He didn't get to play at Texas last year when he was injured. So I think there's a lot of different nuances that we got to consider when we handicap this game.
CD, what does that win last week do for what this season can be for Florida? Because it was going one direction, and now all of a sudden you've got a loss in the SEC, but a lot is still possible for them in the SEC.
Yeah, it is crazy to think about all that's still out there on the table. And PB made the point, if Florida wins on Saturday and OU is able to beat Texas, that Napier and Sark will have the exact same record. And I don't think anybody would have been thinking that was a reality. But I do think, as you look at the 4-game stretch, when we looked at the schedule before the season, we talked about at Baton Rouge against LSU, at Miami, having to play Texas at home, and then going to College Station against A&M. I think any Gator fan would have said, all right, we'll take 2-2 right now. If Florida can win this game, they're actually in that position. Obviously, the USF loss was hurtful at home, but you're starting to build some momentum. There's hope again. And then your schedule, gets a little bit easier, and maybe you're able to continue to build that momentum and put yourself in the mix. Because I don't think Florida's a playoff team, but if you could somehow find a way to get to Atlanta, now all of a sudden you do what Clemson did last year, win the championship, and you get a playoff berth.
Yeah, I think, look, if and you said it, it's a big if. If they play like they did Saturday, if they had been, they certainly beat South Florida. They were in it with Miami until the final, 5 minutes or so of that one. If they can go out and win this game and get a second SEC win, get a road win again, back to back, I guess it would be back to back top 10 wins. Then you look at the rest of that schedule, which today looks like there's no way you can navigate it. But if you look at it differently and go, oh yeah, well they also went to Kyle Field and won, and they beat Texas. It would look and feel totally different. It's really how the interesting thing for me, CD, is I look at A&M right now, and I made the comment earlier, Chris, and I saw where you had them. What you said 3 in the SEC. My first question to you, because we were talking about this earlier, who do you have it 4? Because that's where.
So actually, I haven't put A&M at 3 yet.
Okay.
Our power rankings will come out.
Oh, this is. I don't want you to give that away.
No, I know. I just said that A&M I think has the highest ceiling of
I got you.
and continue to get better and better each week, which I love. But I have OU. I had OU up towards the top with the Mateer injury, putting some question as to the direction of that team. I dropped them down a little bit. I still have Georgia in my top 5, which that was a kind of a whole home win. They went out and did what they needed to do against Kentucky. But if you look at Georgia's schedule, all of a sudden looks much more manageable. I think they only have 2 ranked opponents left on their schedule. So, it's ever changing, to your point, Luch. Like every single week, we kind of change what we feel about certain teams. And this could be one this week. I mean, Alabama, I feel really good about them, but they go up to Como on the heels of having to play Georgia and a Vanderbilt team that took them to the limit. So who knows what you get from the Tide. Consistency is the thing that is the most challenging for any college coach right now.
I just think this is such a big one for A&M because it's the final game of a 3-game homestand. Your other home game later in the year is the South Carolina team that you'll be favored over. If the Aggies win on Saturday, I think they really need that. Now we're talking about them as, can they get to Atlanta? Can they get to the playoffs? And that's what they're going to be judged on every week, right? That's what you guys are going to be discussing week after week. Who's still in it for Atlanta? Which are the SEC teams still in playoff contention? It's the final game of a 3-game stretch. You're playing a very confident team coming in, and your next 3 are on the road. There's a bye in there, but it's Arkansas, LSU, and Mizzou. I don't think anyone's going undefeated through the league this year. If the Aggies can win this one, Chris, as you sit here today, it'd be interesting to say, who would they be underdogs against the rest of the way? Yeah. Today, it's crazy because Missouri will be close spread, LSU will be close, and Texas will be close, all those on the road.
Yeah. No, I think there's so much to be said about not only who you play, but when you play them on your schedule and where you play them on the schedule. And so things are continuing to evolve a little bit. I think the biggest key in the SEC, and I agree with you 100%, nobody's going undefeated this year. I don't know if anybody goes undefeated nationally. But certainly not in the SEC. But you have to win your home games. Winning your home, and that was what was so frustrating about Florida losing at home to USF. It takes away some of your margin for error. So if Texas A&M can win this game on Saturday, it certainly preserves that home game unbeaten streak and does give you a little bit more margin for error. Honestly, I think there's a bunch of teams that end up at 9-3 this year in the league, just cannibalize each other. Yeah. But we had on our show this morning, there was a graphic that the playoff predictor has 10 different teams in the league with at least a 20% chance or better of getting into the college football playoff field, which again speaks to the balance of power and how competitive this league is.
Yeah, I was saying yesterday, the only team to me in a whole weekend of football whose playoff chances took a big hit this past weekend was probably Texas. I don't think Vandy's crippled by that loss on the road at Bama. So just Texas picking up that second loss, and you still look at their schedule, and they got to go to Athens and stuff. Before we go,
how crazy is that though, Luch? We're talking about Vanderbilt being a playoff team. I walked away watching that game feeling even better about Vanderbilt's chances. Like, I don't know if they can, remain a 10-2 team.
Yeah,
but I think they could easily be a 9-3 team. And if things break their way, like, they're a complete football team. They lost that game because of mistakes that they made. Like, if they don't make those mistakes, they win that football game, I think.
Yeah, so I would circle a certain date on Halloween weekend or early November, I think, where they go down to Austin. I think that one's a really interesting football game. Before we go, Chris, I want your take as a receiver on what A&M, because you've been watching A&M receivers for a long time. We've talked about it. We've gotten your hopes up before only to see them crumble. And then we always talk about Caleb Chapman. I gave him that name a few years ago. He had one catch the whole year. And then he came back and got his revenge against Florida as the Aggies get ready to play the Gators. But what have you seen these two guys, and is it the best you've seen the Aggies put on the field since the Mike Evans days?
Yeah, I think you make a good point, because I think we've always had hope about the receivers, but that hope never turned into realized success consistently enough. And so even the Noah Thomas thing, like, I'm still frustrated with a guy that's 6'6", that's not able to dominate a little bit more prior to him. Even at Georgia now, not necessarily doing that. But I love, forget what they're doing on the field. Yeah. I love that Mike Elko said, I want Casey Concepcion, I want Mario Craver on our team. I like what those guys can do in our offense. Mario Craver, obviously not the biggest guy, but explosive with the ball in his hands. I think Casey Concepcion may be one of the most complete receivers in the entire country with what he's able to do, his understanding of leverage, route running, catching the football, finding soft spots against the zone. But I that's the thing. If you can unlock the consistency of Marcel Reed and hitting a little bit more of those deep throws down the field, like, I think this offense becomes damn near impossible to stop, particularly with his running ability.
CD, we went long because we had the capability of doing that. Let me ask you one final question before we go. Where is Florida vulnerable? If A&M's attacking Florida, where do you think they could be potentially vulnerable?
Well, I think defensively, this is a team that is pretty dominant up front, but they're not the deepest there. So I think you pound the ball against them a little bit. You got to be physical on the offensive line. That should be somewhere that I think they could be susceptible. Certainly Marcel Reed in the quarterback run game is going to be a challenge for Florida. But they are susceptible. If you go back and look, there were plays to be made in that game. Texas had open receivers in the secondary. Kamani McLean is a guy that got victimized on a double move, got taken advantage of on a couple other throws. So I think this is a greatest time for A&M. If you're going to be successful throwing the ball down the field, this is a secondary that has, if you can protect, has the chance to be gotten.
CD, you're the best, man. Thanks for making a few minutes for us. And also, thank you for not giving me a hard time for wearing this Florida blue. That was an accident.
You look good. I figure you got a hoodie on there, right? I mean, we all got the
triple hoodie. Yeah. It's 87 degrees today, but why not?
I'm with you on that, man. It's style over function, bro.
Yes.
Appreciate you, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, later. Chris.
And Billy, we went long, so shout out to the Rogue Shop.
Rogue Shop, there you go.
Just a couple minutes long, but we had to go long because we had CD.
Rogue Shop plug. I like it.
Thank you, Billy.
All right, buddy.
We'll see you guys tomorrow on TexAgs Live.